You think you know what's scary? Try explaining the ocean. It's massive, it's dark, and even nightmares are like, nah, we'll pass. And honestly, we've barely scratched the surface of what's down there. That's why we've gathered 9 mythical creatures that really existed. Some you've heard about, some are totally new. Ready? Let's get weird.
First up, ever heard of the Lusca? No? Well, congratulations on your blissful ignorance, because this thing is what happens when Mother Nature looks at a regular octopus and goes, you know what, not scary enough, needs more teeth. According to legends from the Bahamas, the Lusca is a giant octopus-shark hybrid chilling in underwater caves called blue holes. Half octopus, half shark, all nightmare fuel. Because apparently, evolution was having a really weird day and decided to mash together 2 of the ocean's scariest features like some kind of demented Build-A-Bear workshop. This creature is supposedly massive. We're talking over 75 feet long. Local fishermen in the Caribbean have been telling stories for generations about boats getting yanked underwater by something with tentacles and swimmers just disappearing near blue holes. Poof, gone. No goodbye note, nothing. Here's what makes blue holes nightmare material. They're basically underwater sinkholes that drop hundreds of feet straight down into pitch black nothingness, like someone just carved a hole in the ocean floor and said, yeah, this seems fine. The water near them can suddenly start swirling like a toilet flush and pull things under. Scientists call it tidal currents. Locals call it the Lusca having dinner. I know which explanation sounds more interesting. Some people think the Lusca might actually be a giant octopus that grew freakishly huge because of the weird environment down there. Others think it's complete legend, but here's the reality check that should concern you. Remember giant squids? Those were just legends too, until we found actual living proof in the 2000s. Oops. In those blue holes, we've explored maybe a tiny fraction of them. They're dark, they're deep, and they're absolutely packed with underwater caves we literally cannot map. So basically, perfect hiding spots for things that don't want to be found. Does the Lusca exist? No solid proof yet. But if you're ever swimming in the Bahamas and the water starts doing that ominous swirling thing near a dark hole in the ocean floor, here's some free advice. Swim the other direction. Actually, scratch that. Forget swimming. You are screwed already.
Meet Morgawr, which in the Cornish language literally means sea giant. This creature has been spotted off the coast of Cornwall, England since the 1970s, and people still report seeing it today. We're talking about a modern mystery that just refuses to die. Witnesses describe it as a long, serpent-like creature with humps on its back, a neck like a giraffe, and stumpy horns or ridges on its head. Some say it's dark greenish-gray. Others say it's brown. It's reportedly about 15 to 20 feet long, though some sightings claim it's way bigger. Oh, and apparently it smells absolutely disgusting, like rotting fish mixed with something even worse. The sightings really took off in 1975 when a woman named Mary F., she kept her full name secret, probably to avoid being called crazy, sent photographs to a local newspaper. The images showed something with a long neck rising out of the water. Were they real? Faked? Nobody knows for sure, but they sparked dozens more sightings. What's weird is how consistent the reports are. Multiple witnesses who don't know each other describe the same basic creature. Fishermen, tourists, locals, they all tell similar stories. Some say they've seen it swimming alongside their boats. Others claim it dove underwater when they got too close, leaving behind that horrible smell. Scientists think people are probably seeing seals, large fish, or floating debris, but the locals in Cornwall aren't buying it. They've been telling stories about sea serpents in those waters for centuries, way before the 1970s sightings. Some old Cornish folklore even mentions a sea creature that guards the coastline. Does Morgawr exist? Well, people keep seeing something. Whether it's a real, unknown animal, a case of mistaken identity, or just really elaborate pranks that have lasted 50 years, nobody can say for sure. But if you're ever sailing off the coast of Cornwall and you smell something like a dumpster full of dead fish, maybe keep your camera ready. Now, just in case.
Listen, if you survived learning about all these ocean nightmares without immediately moving to a landlocked state, you're officially part of the BIME science crew. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next video. Trust me, we've got way more great stuff coming, and you don't want to miss it. Now, let's get back to the list.
The Jörmungandr, which is basically what happens when you ask, how big can a snake get? And the answer is, big enough to wrap around the entire planet and bite its own tail. Yeah, that big. This isn't just some random monster either. According to Norse mythology, this serpent is the son of Loki, you know, the god of chaos and bad decisions. His siblings, the goddess of death and a giant wolf that eats the sun. Just a normal family. But Jörmungandr isn't just hanging out under the ocean being huge. He's waiting, because when he finally decides to wake up and start moving, that's it. Game over. Ragnarok begins, literally the end of everything. The myth says he'll fight Thor on that final day, and spoiler alert, they both die. Thor kills the snake, but then he manages to walk exactly 9 steps before the poison kicks in and he drops dead. Now this story didn't just appear out of nowhere. People in Norway had been telling tales about massive sea serpents for centuries. Even in the 1800s, folks in Iceland swore they saw something, a snake as long as an entire village just cruising through the water. Today, you'll find this serpent in tons of video games, but he's not just a boss fight, he represents something way scarier. The idea that something enormous and destructive is slowly coiling around everything we care about, and we're too distracted to even notice until it's too late. Does he exist? Obviously not, but that doesn't make the concept any less terrifying.
Next, Umibozu, a creature that shows up right after a storm ends. You'd think that would be good news, right? Storm's over, everyone's safe? Wrong, because the calm that follows is way more terrifying than any storm. The name means sea monk, and Japanese fishermen had a very specific fear. If the ocean suddenly went completely still and fog rolled in out of nowhere, Umibozu was close. This thing rises from the water, huge, faceless, often just a massive shadow. Some stories say it has arms, others say it's just a head. Either way, it can sink your ship with one move. Here's where the legend gets really specific. If a sailor is unlucky enough to talk to it, Umibozu asks for a bucket. If you hand him a normal bucket, he uses it to flood your ship and you drown. The only way to survive is to give him a bucket with no bottom, which supposedly confuses him long enough for you to escape. Imagine your life depending on a logic puzzle with a faceless sea giant. Nobody agrees on how big it is either. Some say it's as tall as a ship's sail. Others claim it's the size of a mountain. Today, Umibozu shows up in anime, horror manga, and video games, and it always means the same thing. When there's silence, there's a reason. Does it exist? Science says no. But when Japanese sailors are out on the water and everything goes quiet, no wind, no waves, nothing, they remember that name, Umibozu.
Here's one you probably haven't heard of, the Sea Eater. Coastal fishermen know the name, but most people don't talk about it. And honestly, that makes it creepier. This thing shows up with no warning. No splash, no noise, no dramatic entrance. It just is. People describe it as a massive dark shape with no clear features, smooth skin like a seal, but way, way bigger. No eyes, just a mouth that stretches across half its head. Some witnesses say it's the size of a bus. Others claim it's even larger. The earliest stories come from Scandinavia and northern Canada. Fishermen would tell tales about boats disappearing in perfectly calm water. No storm, no waves, no struggle. Just silence, and then an empty ocean where a boat used to be. The Sea Eater doesn't attack in rage or hunt for sport. It just appears underneath your boat, and then your boat is gone, like the ocean decided to keep it. Today, you'll only find mentions of the Sea Eater in obscure online forums and fan theories. Almost nobody claims to have seen it, and the few who do, they never share details. They just stop talking about it. Does it exist? Scientifically, no. But the ocean is absurdly vast, and there are places down there where light doesn't reach. And if something lives in that darkness, it's had millions of years to learn patience. This one's different because it's not a creature from ancient legends, it's something we actually recorded. In 1997, underwater sensors picked up a sound, not just any sound, a noise so powerful it was detected by equipment over 3,000 miles apart. Scientists had no idea what made it. It didn't match any known marine animal or any human-made sound. And here's where it gets creepy. The location where the sound came from is super close to where H.P. Lovecraft said the underwater city of R'lyeh would be. You know, where Cthulhu supposedly sleeps in his stories. That's either the world's weirdest coincidence or the universe has a dark sense of humor. Naturally, theories exploded. Could this be an ancient creature? Something so massive we can't even imagine it sleeping in the deep ocean? Today, official science says the bloop was just an ice quake, a glacier cracking underwater. But cryptozoologists and monster hunters aren't buying it. They think it could have been a living creature, something too enormous for us to comprehend. Does the bloop prove a sea monster exists? Nobody knows for sure, but the fact that this one sound captured the world's imagination proves something important. The ocean might hide way more than we're ready to discover. Next, the Kraken. And no, we're not talking about some oversized calamari. This thing was supposedly so huge that sailors thought it was an actual island. Until it moved. Then they realized those weren't rocks, they were tentacles the size of construction equipment. And those weren't caves, they were eyes bigger than your bedroom window. This legend comes from Old Norse stories, and fishermen back then were genuinely terrified. They had one rule: if the water starts bubbling and foaming for no reason, you run. Actually, scratch that. If you can see it, you're already screwed. Sailors were so convinced this thing existed that they literally drew it on their maps with warnings like, "Here be monsters." Imagine being that scared of something you put it on official navigation charts. Here's where it gets wild though. Giant squids? Totally real. We didn't even get footage of one until the 2000s. Before that, all we had were nasty scars on whales and some truly horrified sailors. Today, the Kraken is everywhere. Movies, video games, even on rum bottles, because apparently nothing says party drink like a ship-destroying sea monster. Does it actually exist? Probably not as described, but here's the thing that should keep you up at night. We've explored more of space than we have of our own ocean. 80% of Earth is covered in water, and we know almost nothing about what's down there. So maybe the Kraken wasn't a myth, maybe it was just waiting.
This next creature lives in a lake, not the ocean, but it's too weird not to include. Meet Ogopogo, a legend from Lake Okanagan in Canada. Picture a long, serpent-like creature with smooth, dark skin, a small horse-shaped head, and a body that curves like a sea snake. It can supposedly reach up to 49 feet long. The story goes way back to the Syilx people's mythology. They believed a spirit called Naitaka lived in the lake and demanded offerings before letting anyone cross safely. Over time, that evolved into the monster legend we know as Ogopogo. The first official sighting happened in the early 1900s. In 1926, a group of people swore they saw something strange in the water. Since then, there have been dozens of reports. Blurry photos, shaky videos, mysterious stories that never quite add up. Here's a fun fact. People call Ogopogo the Canadian Loch Ness Monster. There's even a statue of him in the city of Kelowna, a cute cartoon version that tourists love to photograph. What about today? Some people think Ogopogo could be a large fish or some rare species hiding deep in the lake. Scientists think most sightings are just waves, light playing tricks, or floating logs. Does Ogopogo really exist? No solid evidence yet, but who knows? Maybe someone will capture footage one day that changes everything. Okay, this one's genuinely horrifying. Imagine a snake as long as 2 school buses parked end to end. That's Titanoboa. This prehistoric monster could reach 50 feet long and weigh over a ton, a literal ton of snake. It lived about 60 million years ago, right after the dinosaurs went extinct, in the tropical swamps of what's now Colombia. And in those swamps, Titanoboa wasn't just another predator, it was the boss, the apex predator, the thing everything else was scared of. Scientists think it hunted large fish, turtles, and probably even young crocodiles. And it didn't kill by biting, it crushed its prey with enough force to snap a spine, like you'd snap a pencil. Just imagine being slowly squeezed by something that weighs as much as a small car. Here's a wild fact. We only discovered Titanoboa in 2009. Workers in a coal mine in Colombia found these massive vertebrae, some as big as a human head. Scientists pieced them together and realized, oh no, this thing was real. Today, you can see a reconstructed skeleton at the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. It's both fascinating and nightmare-inducing. Of course, there are online theories about whether it could still exist somewhere. Does Titanoboa really exist today? Well, it definitely existed. It's a confirmed prehistoric animal that ruled the swamps. And the scariest part? The Amazon rainforest is enormous and mostly unexplored. So technically, maybe.
And there you have it. 12 creatures from the deepest parts of our imagination, and in some cases, from the deepest parts of the ocean itself. Some are ancient legends passed down for thousands of years. Some were real animals that actually walked or swam the earth. Okay, bye.